We broke 300 co-sponsors for the audit of the Fed bill. People don't realize the Federal Reserve and what it does and what it is. It's a way, one of the ways Congress can swindle us. When they pass a budget that they can't afford, they don't raise taxes. What they do is they go print dollars. So it's a tax that's postponed because printing all that dollars basically dilutes our wealth, dilutes our savings accounts, dilutes our children's wealth, the value of their labor. So it's one of the reasons a hospital visit for a week in 1930 was $80 and now it's $10,000. It's not because a week in the hospital is more valuable, it's because the value of our wealth is so diluted by a Congress that's printing dollars instead of spending responsibly.
And the other thing I wanted to get your opinion on was Ohio Senate Resolution 13, State Sovereignty Act. I want to know what you think about that.
I love the State Sovereignty Act. Our representative Troy Balderson supported it. Jimmy Stewart, who is in the vice chair of the Veterans Committee that it's in right now, is not a supporter yet, but we're working on that. But what we need is states to basically nullify the federal government's usurpations. One of the ways to do that is simply resoluting, saying we're going to disrespect these federal laws. There needs to be more than just that. We need to add teeth to it, like Colorado almost did. Montana's doing it with firearms. Tennessee's doing it with firearms. Arizona's doing it with health care, where in these areas, they're basically disrespecting and confessing that they're going to defy the federal government in these areas. And Florida was the 37th state last week that did it. So Ohio needs to get on board. It's now becoming a consensus that the federal government's out of control, and the states need to check the federal government. What's going to happen if the federal government ignores those resolutions? States will have a decision. Are we going to put teeth to those resolutions or not? Montana legislatures are meeting and discussing what to do if the federal government withholds highway funds because they're wanting to defy federal gun laws and because they're wanting to recriminalize abortion in spite of whatever a federal judge may say. They're planning on putting up pay booths on roads to pay for their roads. They're planning for it because they are not going to accept the federal judge's suspension of their God-given rights.
Thank you, everybody. Last question, when can we see you on a ballot in Ohio?
When somebody gives me about $75,000.
Thanks for your time, Doc.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate you.
Dr. Johnson,
Hey,
thank you so much.
thank you for
I want to be a Sam Adams. I want to be a Patrick Henry. I want to be willing to sign the document. To be willing to lay down our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor so our people can be free, so future generations of Americans could give to their children the gift of freedom.
Yeah!
You know, it may come down to revolution because our government's not listening. King George didn't listen. Patiently they implored him. Patiently said, these rights come from God, you can't do this to us. But he denied and he continued. Every repeated injury was met with further repeated injury, and he ignored their pleadings. Hundreds of thousands of Americans died in wars in which the central authority, the central government, ignored their pleadings. And one of the things we need right now in order to protect our God-given right is we need to live right. John Adams said our Constitution was made for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. We must have fathers who will educate their children. We're raising up children that require antipsychotics to help them behave. They're suckers for a new world order. They're not being educated, and they're not having a father in the home who's reading the book, the Bible, teaching them morality, teaching them so they can be a success in life. We're not loving our wives and cherishing them. And one of the things we need to do as well is we need to stay armed. Thomas Jefferson said, the strongest reason for the right to keep and bear arms is to prevent tyranny in government.
Yes!
Don't
Yes!
accept the idea that you've got to give up your arms because we need to keep you safe from terrorism. Don't you believe it?
No!
And don't hide your guns either.
No!
Because if you hide your guns and then you want to one day pull it out and use it to defend your freedoms when everyone else has been disarmed, you're just going to be a token defeat. Because defending the right to keep and bear arms is defending the rights that are worth defending. Because if you lose that, everything is gone. And also, we need to elect state leaders who will defy the federal government. I'm going to ask my kids to come up.
Yes!
We can't be satisfied with status quo. We have become so oppressive in our form of government that our great-grandparents could not even recognize us today.
No.
So Charity and James and little Grace, y'all come apart a little bit and spread out, are going to help illustrate a point. Grace is going to be Ohio. Say help me. Say it loud. Say help me. Say go Buckeyes. All right, James is going to be an Ohio leader. Say I'll protect you.
I'll protect you.
Charity is going to represent the federal government. Say hope and change.
Hope and change.
So when the federal government comes with Roe versus Wade, we need state leaders who will step up and say no. To stop the shedding of innocent blood in Ohio. When the federal government wants to come with cap and trade, we need state leaders who will say no. When the federal government wants to come with the national ID law, defying the constitutional limitations, we need a state leader who will say no. When the federal government wants to come with gun confiscation because people are crying for cages to keep them safe, we need a state leader who will say, no you don't. When the federal government comes with a Supreme Court mandated physician-assisted suicide, we need state leaders who will say no, not in Ohio. When the federal government comes with a draft for an unconstitutional war, we need state leaders who will say, not on my watch, not in Ohio. When the federal government comes with state-controlled health care, $1 trillion disaster, we need a state leader. We need a state government who will say, no, we do not accept your usurpations. When the federal government transgresses or trespasses the boundaries set in the Constitution, they have usurped rights and duties that do not belong to them. The 10th Amendment says whatever is not explicitly granted to the federal government belongs to the states. It belongs to the people. The federal government is forbade it. It's not allowed to do it. An unlawful law is invalid law. And when the federal government steps forward and says, no, Ohio, you can't be Christian in the public square. You got to take your 10 commandments off your walls. We get to teach your children that they can engage in homosexual behavior and it's okay. We get to teach your children that you came into existence from a collision of molecules billions of years ago and God has nothing to do it. We need state leaders who will defy them and say, no, you don't. Not in Ohio. Thank you. Y'all have a seat. It's time for that. It's time